alifanaye kuita mkombozi wetu.
A loud of world that we are today commemorating TVET at 100 ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me at this point to welcome the principal, KABETE KABETE.
Was also part of that team. There is also KABETE.
when we are looking at the performance of the torch, we realized that we are lacking two the TVET torch at 100. We are looking at it as a communication strategy. We are also looking at it as a flooding strategy. And we wanted each and every person in this country to get the message of TVET and how TVET is important for economic growth. But we realized for the last move all the way to that 1st of July. Madam PS, this celebration is coming at a time that we have done a lot, especially for the last few years since we took over the State Department. We are doing, we are recrafting our curriculum. We are retooling our trainers. We are also engaging with the industry in implementing our CVET courses. And at this time, everybody knows what we are doing in the TVET sector, but the bigger public is not aware of what is happening. And that's the reason why we said that today, even if we have all the medias in Kenya, it is our day to shout what TVET is doing, and to shout that at TVET at 100, we want everybody to get the information, as it was clearly put by the president, that if education is the key, then TVET is the master key. So, Madam PS, we are looking Kenya as a source of skilled labor in the whole world. And I always say that the second scrabble for Africa is actually on skills. So if you don't skill our youth, then it means the other part of the world will not have business with us. So we are training for Kenya, and also we are training for the rest of the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, today is very critical as we approach the next 3 months of moving loud, shouting about the TVET at 100. Madam PS, the torch now in Rift Valley, and it will be taken over by Western Legion on 8th of May for 3 weeks, and then from there we'll go to Coast, and I'm happy the chairman of Coast is seated with us here, Mr. Gomez, and then from there it will come back now to KABETE or Nairobi region. Nairobi region, we are saying that you'll be here for 4 weeks or for 5 weeks, depending on how they are going to perform on the ground. And we want all the media houses, all the industries to be part of this celebration. We want to close all the roads in Nairobi so that they know we have TVET, and TVET is the way to go. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us continue shouting about TVET, because TVET is the way to go, and TVET is life. Thank you very much, and welcome once again to this media or press briefing about TVET at 100 in Kenya. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair Kati. I think another upload from Bwanamongi. Thank you. I think because we want to be a bit brief, and as we are brief, we have invited guests and they are here. I want to take this opportunity to recognize KEPSA. KEPSA is here with us, and the team, Madam Priscilla Lembi, and the team, and your team. Applause for KEPSA, they are with us. Thank you and welcome for heeding to this short call. It was just a short call and they are here. Kenya Association of Manufacturers. They are here represented by Francis Petro. Thank you and welcome, Kenya Association of Manufacturers. We are humbled to have you with us here. And we have a TVET champion. I think the rest, they can make a remark on behalf of maybe the others. And at this juncture, I want to call Dr. KABETE TVET, a TVET champions. Clap for me, Dr. KABETE TVET. Karibu.
The chief guest, P.S. Moria, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and indeed champions of technical vocational training institutions and initiatives here present today. This is a very exciting moment where we celebrate 100 years of TVET and what it means for this nation. And if we can recollect and go back 100 years, at that time we are aware, statistics show that enrollment was very low within the context of TVET. In fact, after 60s and 70s, when the national government started developing TVET, in 75, there were barely 3,000 students enrolled within the context of TVET institutions. And today, we celebrate greatness, and greatness within the context of what has happened and what we've all contributed to. More profoundly, with immense greatness, His Excellency President Ruto's resolve in promoting TVET as a master key within the context of the transformation and the prosperity agenda of this country, and what it means for the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, and how it plays a significant role, if not the key role, in prompting these industries and capacities at the highest level of productivity, innovation, and efficiency. I'd also like to appreciate and applaud Minister Mashogu's, Honourable Minister Mashogu's resolve within the context of what he espouses, that indeed, as Kenyans, we need to be self-reliant, resilient, be able to develop our own industry, our own commerce platforms, and TVET plays that important role. And I congratulate P.S. Moria for her rollout of exceptional programs today, which promise great delivery of capacity to not only the commerce sector, but to the social sectors. We see that TVET has an impact on young people. We're all aware that when young people use their minds, their hands, they're able to be confident and independent to earn a livelihood. It makes them happy. And that's why, psychologically, TVET is so critical within the context of ensuring that we create a happy nation. Please concern, ladies and gentlemen, please be aware that sometimes processes are in place, but there's very little awareness about what the outcome of the process is. And so I would like to categorically tell you today that government's efforts in order to create an ecosystem and a systemic representation of outcomes towards productivity, innovation, and efficiency are highlighted in their key reforms that they've rolled out. The competency-based education training reform and policy is a dedicated foundation to ensuring that people are able to be trained to a specific standard, a standard that is embodied as far as how industry would attain greater levels of productivity, innovation, and efficiency. And that's the value proposition. And today, the call is to help the nation appreciate that within the context of the CIVIT policy, their enrollment and their involvement is absolutely crucial. So are the other innovations as far as policy and reform are concerned that have been led by the State Department for Technical and Vocational Training. The policy within the context of recognition of prior learning guarantees to the commerce sector that not only are they able to get the highest qualified skilled labor, after all, their enrollment and their involvement is part of policy as far as the development of occupational standards that are measurable to their gains. But more importantly, the existing workers can also be able to be transitioned into higher skilled pathways by ensuring that they're able to create the necessary capacities for reskilling or ensure that their skills are stackable. So the government's efforts today are incredible. They've introduced concepts like micro-credentials, partial learning systems, stackable systems, all for the benefit of the private sector and the social sector. And so there's much to be pleased about today. There's much to be a part of this celebration. I'd like to illustrate two efforts further that are truly transformative. We've seen existing policy reforms being applied to the remotest parts of this country and the most difficult parts of this country. We have a program called the Ujuzi Manyatani Initiative, which is in partnership with the Ministry of Education, which ensures that young people who may not have been to school may have or have been to school and have a vice, like for example cattle rustling and other vices, can still transition into TVET programs called the Ujuzi Manyatani Initiative and still be part and parcel of the pathway to further educational reform and a greater level of livelihood within the context of their contribution to development. Yet another initiative that is now being pioneered by the agricultural sector is to ensure that we create clusters around technical vocational training institutions in partnership with government and under the foundation of their great policy initiatives and their efforts, to create clusters based on their value chains to promote the necessary skills, education, research and extension that will ultimately ensure that we have the highest level of impact as far as addressing challenges with respect to food security and climate-friendly solutions. And indeed, this is part of the greatness of today and the value proposition to all stakeholders that TVET's frameworks have now come of age, that we have the necessary policies and structures and capacities to profoundly make an impact, and that this has to be witnessed by context of how stakeholders are part and parcel of the initiatives within the entire ecosystem of TVET reform. I therefore encourage investment within the context of this value proposition and seek stakeholders to understand the enormous contributions TVET can make to their success of their productivity initiatives, their innovation initiatives, their efficiency initiatives, all based on a proven effort towards training to standards that are measurable, and standards that invoke the latest and the most greatest dynamism within the context of their development. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Another applause for Dr. KABETE TVET. Thank you, Dr. KABETE TVET. I think we say this is a day for the industries. I would also wish another industry representative to make a remark, Patrick Nyangweso, the CEO, Kenya National of Chambers of Commerce and the Industry. Karibu.
Thank you so much. My name is Principal Patrick. Without wasting time, allow me to ride on the protocol already set. But with that, I want to really recognize the contribution and support as private sectors, what we have received from the PS. Esther Mora, you are really a practical lady. So allow me to let's put our hands together. When you hear her talk, she's not talking as a professional from the university halls. She talks as if she's also did her practical skills at KABETE. Now, as you have been told, I'm one of the industry players representatives, but I want to also recognize the other industry players who are here. I know our partner KEPSA is already here, CAM. Any other session representative? Yes. Oh, wonderful. MSK, yes, that's very great. Any other? Juakali Federation? So, PS, this means next time we will flood the house, but I want to thank KEPSA, I want to thank CAM for really taking initiative and MSK for really joining us. We gather here today, ladies and gentlemen, to set up a pace to celebrate the role, the transformative agenda that has been achieved through TVET. All of us, if you remember when you were born, people would talk of Makerere University and KABETE. So from the small village I was born, far hand towards the southern part of Uganda, that's super south, people would talk of, I did see you in KABETE. I did see you in Makerere. And the Royal College, which is currently the prestigious college where I was nurtured, the University of Nairobi. But nowadays, if you go to the village, people never talk proudly about KABETE. What am I trying to bring across? As Kenyans, as industry players, as professionals, as government, the policy makers, it is high time we took a bold step to change the mindsets of Kenyans so that we develop a high appetite and encourage our children to register and take these courses. Just check on my handwrite side, check what the courses, practical courses that KABETE offers. If you go to Nyeri, the same. If you go to Taita Taveta, the same. Eldoret Polytechnic, the same. Why is it that we are no longer recognizing that we can only develop, we can only enterprise if we invest in the technical and vocational training? Again, as private sector, we gather here today to persuade all Kenyans that as the TVET begins the next century journey, what type of TVET, you can ask your colleague who is seated next to you, what type of TVET do you want to see in the next 100 or the next century celebration? Principals who are here, the policies makers who are here, private sectors who are here, how many have registered their children? Me, I'm talking from the KABETE grounds, and I have 2 here, but I can afford to take them to any university. I was telling, one is in supply, another one is in mechanical. And I'm the one who brought them here myself. I'm sorry to tell you they did not fail because they are bright the way I am. So the mindset begins from you. To our stakeholders, we know that TVET has really promoted a very sustainable economic development in all our sectors. And this really enhanced the skilled workforce. And our focus as private sector, we want a TVET in the next journey of prosperity, a TVET, the TVET institutions that will be promoting the graduates to be, 1, employable, enterprising, innovative, adaptive, and competitive. If we really focus on those 5 pillars, Madam PS, we will remain competitive and we will not depend on cheap imports. We will make our graduates to create their own employment, not employment seekers. For us to achieve the mismatch that exists from the industry feedback we get, it is also very important, ladies and gentlemen, that, Madam PS, we adopt the rapid response to skills mismatch initiatives, and this calls for the investment from the private sectors to support the technical institutions so that the graduates or our children will be able to meet the ever-challenging global labor markets. Digitization is here with us, globalization is here with us, demographic changes and climate change can't be left out to be mentioned. The new occupations are emerging while others are becoming obsolete. How do we prepare our people? I've seen the ones who are in plumbing. In my area, Suba South, Bwana Principal, when I was just doing final touches in my current home in the village, you know, I had to import a technical person from Kisumu, more than 250 kilometers away. Because the whole village, you can't get one. That's why I chose to sponsor those 2 kids to come to KABETE. As we make a very momentous occasion of 100 years of TVET excellence, we need to really recognize that we can only develop our industries, make them competitive, make them innovative, make them export ready, if we invest in the right policies, if we invest in the right institutions, if we invest in the career path of our young ones. Yesterday I sat in a discussion with His Excellency the President, and I was telling the PS, when the Embassy of America asked him, what 3 top things would you really talk about to promote Kenya? And it did surprise many Kenyans, because it was an East Africa Business Summit. He mentioned Kenya is the home of experts. And skills, when you talk of skills and expertise, in East and Central Africa, Kenya is top. Adoption of technology, Kenya is third after South Africa and Mauritius. In fact, the next Global Innovation Index, Madam PS, we may beat South Africa or Mauritius to become number 1 or number 2 in Africa. This calls for a robust investment in our technology in the TVET industry. As I pen out, Madam PS, I want to really recognize that we must really support TVET to mainstream a very dynamic market platforms with very designed program for the dual training, and industries would be able to offer this space. We must really encourage our industry players to really be able to absorb our graduates, give them opportunity for lifelong expertise so that they gain the practical skills. As Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we will remain steadfast to promote the lifelong learning through engaging our key stakeholders. And in this journey of celebrating the TVET at 100, count on our unconditional support. Nurturing a culture of entrepreneurship is very key. We must really walk the talk and engage all key stakeholders, especially the academia world. Research is very key. Let's have curriculums that will be market-oriented and that will prepare our graduates to be innovative and start their own businesses. May God bless you. To the media, take this message to every doorstep that Kenya is the dawn for the skills development. Just a week ago, the Ministry of Labor launched the skills development policy framework, and we are really supporting this initiative. Together, if all these policies would be rolled out, to our brothers in the media space, take time to read about these policies. Take time to support the planning committee so that we make July to be a crowning month for the TVET champions and marketing, so that Kenya remains the best point for referrals by all African countries. From July, let them come and learn on how we do it. To our development partners, reorganize your resources and support this cause. Be blessed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. A good applause for his name is Patrick. And kumesikia the last statement yake. Asante sana Patrick for that. I think this was a very short duration. We were inviting members, the partners who are with us. So allow us to go on appreciating those who are with us. So we appreciate Kise. Kise is with us. In fact, he came very early. Karibu sana. Kise is with us. Karibu. KEPSA, I think we appreciated that one. HRM PEP is a body that is we also examine with here. HRM PEP. Karibu sana. They are with us. Karibu. NEC. Karibu NEC. They are also with us. So, and One Patrick, I was reading my email when you are because some of them have answered in the email. So I want to read the apology of FKE. They have already written an apology and they have said they are with us, so that tusipigwe vita na apology ziko. So asante sana. So at this juncture, allow me to invite our other partners who have really been with us. You know them, and these partners, they will have a representative, the GIZ. So I call Bwana Malenga to recognize those other partners, our partners in that space. Karibu Bwana Malenga, Gideon Malenga, applause for a good clap for Bwana Malenga.
Right, my good friend Madam PS, Chair KABETE, Principal, CEOs of agencies, principals, CATI, industry, media, and students, good morning. Yeah, so I think before I say one or two words, I just want to perhaps to recognize, I think I'd been tasked with that, to recognize any other partners that have besides ILO and CICAN and GDI, that I will just give a mic to say one or two words. So if we have any other partner in the house, all right. Yes, from Kenya Red Cross Society. Let's appreciate them, please. Thank you so much. So maybe I want to invite, starting with Carol, maybe to come and give some brief remarks, and then we'll have CICAN and then GDI.
The PS TVET, my dear sister, Dr. Moria, the chair of the board, KABETE National Polytechnic. I came in and I said, what a beautiful campus. It's quite surprising. You don't think of it that way when you drive past it. Allow me to also recognize the principal who's hosting us, the leadership in the TVET ecosystem, partners, I'll do that again, Gideon, the media, and everyone present here. Good morning. It's a beautiful morning, despite the rains, right? And it's a great, great privilege for me, for the ILO, to be part of this. Looking back is how I look at it. Looking back at TVET for 100 years and looking forward, yeah, because you don't want to be stuck. You don't stay like this, right? Even when you're driving, you look, see who's coming, then you keep moving on. But then you move on with a different strategy. Gideon has asked that I speak for a minute, but I'll seek his indulgence to speak for 2 or 3. We as the ILO, we are the UN Agency for the World of Work. And why I like to introduce us this way is because TVET is about employment. And so we will never be able to talk about employment anywhere in the world if we are not speaking about the process of getting people into employment. And the TVET sector is right at the heart of it. But also, as the ILO, we are founded on the principles of social justice. And it's very simple, that each and every one of us, despite where we were born, whether in America, in the global south, in the global north, in the global anywhere, we have an equal chance at life. And TVET is a great equalizer. We say education is a great, great equalizer. But TVET is a great part of that equalizer. And why do I say this? If you look at our transition rates to universities, yeah, they're still very small. And they will continue to be so, and they should not change. Are we together? Because the structure of the Kenyan economy is not to have 100% university graduates. What are they going to do? You know, when my friend from the chamber spoke, you want someone to fix tiles. Now it's raining. Last night I called our fixer, Walter. I said, Walter, I've seen some dark patches on the roof. Can you come and check what is happening on the roof? Are we together? That is the nature of our economy. We are saying we want to take the leap to industrialization. We don't need 100% university degrees to industrialize. And I have 3. So I have nothing against university education. But in a pipeline, in a company, you need 1 graduate and like 20 or 30 TVET graduates. And this is what industry tells us. KEPSA, FKE, Chamber. They say, but you're not giving us watu wa mkono. You're giving us graduate engineers. We don't need all of them. They're great, but they're needed really for a few things. The real changes for our economy, which is largely informal, these will be powered by the TVET sector. But how does that TVET sector look like then? Okay? One, it needs to be inclusive. Gender, you know, most marginalized parts of our country, and Dr. Desai has spoken about that, that everyone needs to be brought on board. But the challenge we have is that, one of the challenges is that a lot of the really excellent TVET is still very inaccessible. We need to have the equivalent of this beautiful institution across 47 countries with the same level of training, right? That is how TVET is going to be felt across the country. That you don't, if you go to VTC, then you become second class. Are we together? We are alienda VTC. Mimi nilienda KABETE. Yeah, we need to have the same level of capacity of the trainers. That's very key. It's a key building block of the trainers, the equipment, the curriculum, but also the access to industry. And that's why we keep talking about industry. The other thing I would like to mention is the relevance of TVET, and then I'll hand back over to Gideon. You know, TVET is, occupations are changing so fast. And think even about yourself. If you're doing your job the same way you're doing it 10 years ago, there's a problem. There's a problem. There are those emergent skills, they are calling them human skills, soft skills, but also technical skills that we've had to adapt. And one of the things I like to use is the cabinet in Kenya. You don't hear people putting papers together. Have you seen that? So everyone is digital. They walk into, I find it really beautiful. I always look at their photos. They're working with a 10 years ago, they were working like this, with a lot of photos and paperwork. That is a simple example. Many of us are hustlers, we have side gigs, we have farms. The people that we work with, we need a different type of skill set. Now, imagine industry where you have to be productive, competitive, or ship out. It's about the money. Yeah? Industry is telling us this is where we need to be competitive. Because ladies and gentlemen, you know what happens when businesses are competitive? They make more profits, they grow, they expand to markets, and you know, for me, the most important thing is they redistribute the wealth. How? By employing more people. So how does the TVET sector support us to enable a distribution of wealth, enable more money in people's pockets for each and every corner of this country? We are committed PS. We will avail our resources. We are not a big donor. As the ILO, we have catalytic funding, but I will tell you what we do have that is really excellent. It is technical capacity. Because we bring experiences that we have from, I think now we have 176 member states of the ILO. From the developed to middle developing to least developed, we have all those experiences. And we are going to be able to share them with Kenya so that the TVET agenda does not make mistakes that have been made before and can leverage on the great opportunities that exist in other parts of the world. Thank you for having us here and for listening to me.
Thank you so much, my friend Agri.
Madam PS, the principals here, development partners, I want to also join the team in saying a few words. I want to be very brief. Madam PS, I want to thank you. Personally, I want to thank you for creating order in the TVET space. In terms of creating order, I want to say the following, that as we sit here celebrating the 100 years, KABETE, you are the premier. I've read that, the premier polytechnic, and I like that statement. And I would love that on this pedestal of 100 years, KABETE being the premier, we want to create more order and support the Madam PS. And how do we do that? I would wish that we have a declaration, KABETE declaration, on the TVET space. If the SDG are only 17, what stops us from just coming up with a 9-point agenda for the TVET space and then focus them and drive them towards the end? My name is Agri Ndombi. I appreciate this space, and I would love us to do that, because as CICAN, Colleges and Institutes Canada, we intervene on many things. Some of them have had impact. Some of them, of course, we are learning processes. We have seen those that are not making impact. And we are saying, in the process of the PS creating order, we would want to say that help us to create more order, organize the development partners so that they are able to also to create order so that we don't have disharmony in terms of the resources. I had the call from our partner from the chamber that development partners harmonize our resources. But again, resources can only be well utilized if there is what? Order. So in other words, what am I saying? That my call is that as we celebrate this process, let us come up with a creative way of creating order in the TVET space so that we're able to deliver this message home. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. If education is the key to success? Wonderful. Alice, karibu sana.
Good morning. Thank you so much for the honor of inviting me to speak here today. Great call out to Madam PS. Thank you so much, Chairman of the Board of this fantastic TVET institution, PS Desai and many friends, all protocols observed. My name is Alice Gugolev. People have sometimes trouble remembering my family name, Gugolev. So I tell them, think of Google, then just add Ev. So that's my history. I did not invent Google, but that's my family name. I'm the CEO of Global Development Incubator. We're a nonprofit here in Kenya. Our headquarters are in Nairobi. We work all over the country. We're focused on sustainable economic growth and well-being in Kenya and across Africa. We have programs that are in deep partnership with the government, the private sector, civil society, and really building capacity, technical capacity of players across the sector, doing a lot of the harmonization and multi-stakeholder initiatives that's just been talked about in terms of bringing people together, and critically bringing the right capital together, the financing to achieve a lot of times this huge vision, but how do we actually fund it, isn't it? And so I've been in Kenya for about 8 years, and it's been incredible to see the journey of development, especially in the TVET sector. A lot more focus on demand alignment, a lot more focused on competency-based education, much deeper industry relationships and partnerships, and so it's been really heartening to see. At the same time, I think there's still much more to go. And so there's a few things that I'd love to share with you what GDI has been working on in the last little while. The first, and I'll talk about demand alignment, I'll talk about things to do with incentives, and thinking about this issue at the scale that we need to think about it. The first is around demand alignment. So really thinking about the needs of the private sector. On Monday, with the Ministry of Labor, we really started to break out this issue of the needs of the private sector by sector. What does the creative sector need? What about health? What about manufacturing? How do you really understand the value chains? And this has been noted by PS Desai and others as well. How do you really understand what's needed in every part of that particular sector? And it's quite different. A lot of people in development and government, we say private sector, but it's not monolithic in any way. And the specifics and understanding of what those skills that are required is so critical. One example, and last night I was at the US Ambassador's residence talking about the creative sector, is that it contributes 5% to GDP in Kenya. And that the potential for growth is significant. And so, for example, one of the things we've done in the last couple of years is map out very clearly in the creative sector, what does it mean? What are the skills required in film, in sports and entertainment, in music? What is that whole ecosystem of skills required? How do we really think about and break that down in detail? The second is, how do we make our curricula dynamic? And we were just speaking about that recently. I don't know if some of you have seen the statistics. The world is moving so fast that the knowledge that we all have today, it's gonna be needed something completely different in 2 years. That pace of change is so fast. So you have all these amazing courses, but the details under those courses, they're changing. So how do we create a process with your leadership that can be much more dynamic to the needs of industry? Not just from a report published a year or two ago, but actually every few months. So building that dynamic process in curricula evaluation, approval is really, really critical. And the third around demand alignment is, how do we think about building capacity of our TVETs? There's so much celebration as to the campus that we're here today, but as has been mentioned all across the country, how do we really build up the capacity? One of the things we've also put together in the last couple of years is a handbook for TVET managers on how to become much more demand aligned. We worked on, thank you, sir. We worked on that with the African Union and the Development Agency, and it's a very simple scorecard that every TVET can start to evaluate themselves, and ultimately the government can start to take a look at which TVETs are the high-performing ones, and which are the ones that we can really support over time. And then the second component is, that's the carrot, but we need a little bit of a stick. So how do we start to incentivize TVETs and really over time shift them from training, enrollment and training, to what? Placement. Because at the end of the day, it's about jobs.
And there's very interesting financing mechanisms that we're now designing, which we'd love to partner with the government on as well, around outcomes payments, outcomes funds, where you start to pay for placements and ultimately retention and income generation, because it's also around entrepreneurship, isn't it? And the third thing I will talk about is there's so many amazing, and this is my last point, so many amazing programs out there. We have micro-credentialing, we have recognition of prior learning, we have fantastic dual degree, this TVET and on-the-job training opportunities that GIZ has been pioneering. But my question still remains, how do we move from these wonderful pilots and case studies to scale? There's statistics, 5 million, 7 million young people in Kenya out of work, out of school, out of training. How do we design programs for that scale? How do we have a strategy with your leadership that can get to those kinds of numbers that are aligned to industry? And so, as GDI, we're very excited to be part of this journey. A huge congratulations to TVET at 100, and we're hoping to really build these kinds of collaborations and partnerships in the years to come. Thank you very much.
So thank you so much. A round of applause for all the development partners. It was important that I bring them here because you know their capacity and how important they are to the whole process. Yeah, so I think for me, we'll just be brief. First is to appreciate, I think, the work that you've done, Madam PS, in trying to transform the TVET sector. I think the transition to CBET is quite impressive. Now, if you go to the ground, you can be able to see what CBET is doing on the ground. And I'm proud to say that, first of all, I did introduce myself. My name is Gideon Morenga, Senior TVET Advisor at GIZ, working on the Dual project. GIZ was the first to pilot CBET even before Dual. And one of the institutions was KABETE. It had the first students on instrumentation and control, PS Desai knows that, and the KABETE team. So the very first graduates of CBET, when you talk about 2017 back there, were actually supported by GIZ, and KABETE was one of the institutions. And therefore, as you're talking about KABETE being a pioneer institution, it has also become a pioneer of CBET before. I think we need to appreciate that. Yeah, so I think the progress that has been made with CBET, and now we are moving into Dual, where we are bringing the industries very closer. You could hear the passion from my friend, KCCI CEO. The industry is always willing and ready to work with us. They have the resources, they have the finances. Sometimes I see emails move around requesting for partnership and support. We were just brainstorming here with the CEO, and you're saying some of these industries can even take platinum sponsorships in some of your events. But we have to bring them closer so that it becomes a relationship that we establish with them. I'm glad to report, Madam PS, that these principals have been very, very supportive on the Dual TVET implementation part. We do so many industry sensitization meetings, and they are there. If I try to look at everyone here, Mr. Kivuti, they have been in many industry meetings that we do. And in fact, some of the time I overhear an industry person say, if the principal is in this meeting, then this is a very serious thing. We need to commit. I have overheard that. So quite a lot of them are participating in this. And this is actually really creating a different impression also to the industry, to realize that we can be able to work and collaborate with them. So for us, Dual is working. We are even having more commitments of slots, and the principals here will confirm that in some of the institutions we are unable to fill the positions that have been provided by the industries. And quite impressive partnerships. I look at Nachu, for example, they are doing something with Modokinju, and they have already even gotten someone from, I think it's Romania, if I'm not wrong, who is ready. He was trying to wonder, is there an industry or an institution that trains painters? And they are already keen to partner with them. And they have already, we are dueling their program on painters and all. So what does that mean? I mean, the transition in terms of jobs means, I think Caroline mentioned this, there are jobs that are merging, there are others that are becoming more specialized as we progress with CBET. If you look at, for example, now if your car breaks down and it's a 2025, 2024, 2023 Range Rover, if it breaks down, the person that you want to fix that car must have 3 kind of skills: the mechanical, the electrical and electronics, and the computerized system. Because either one of them, and the 3 communicate to each other. So it will not be an issue, wacha niite mtu ya waya. Anaitwa nani? Kawaya, si ndio? Wacha niite Kawaya. Kawaya akikataa anasema wacha tuite yule mwingine anaitwa tuite mechanic. Na sasa now they have added another component of the computerized part of it. So it could be an aspect of the sensors. So that has generated a mechatronics expert. Now when you look at the building, we used to do a lot of building and construction. Now if you go to a building site, kuna mtu wa kufunga chuma, kuna mtu wa plumber, kuna mtu wa kufanya nini? Formwork, kuna mtu wa gypsum peke yake, kuna mtu wa kupaint peke yake. Like all these are different skills, which we will be lying to ourselves tukisema we want to train all these guys to have all the skills. Even some of us here, perhaps who are doing construction, if somebody comes to you as a fundi and says, I can do that, I can do kila kitu, what will you say? Hapana, sindio? You can see, so we already know this. It means the aspect of specialization and mastery of skills, which is a key component of CBET, is actually coming up right now. And this is an area that we need to embrace. So I think as I conclude on this, I appreciate the very good programs that are being done here, but I think it has been mentioned that quite new courses are coming up, which, as we are looking ahead, there are several priority areas that demand our collective attention to further strengthen Kenya's TVET system. One is on curriculum alignment. Now we have new areas, for example, green technology. We have areas such as green construction practices. How are institutions taking this up? And I'm glad a lot of the institutions are already national polytechnics. It means you have a legal mandate to be able to develop curricula. How are you taking advantage of this? I look at areas like data analytics, cybersecurity. We are moving digital, but there are other things that are associated on other courses that are coming with that. How are we embracing that? I'm looking at areas like robotics, which some of the institutions are already there. Smart manufacturing systems and mechatronics. Some are there, we need to get there. Multimedia areas. Multimedia production, animation, all aspects around the creative industry. Fashion and design. I see a lot of drones used in events, even in the local village. How many of our institutions are training on drone technology? Those are some of the things we need to ask ourselves. And I see them in the village. When you look at agriculture technology, areas in terms of agriculture machinery operation and maintenance, agribusiness management, value-added processing, how are we incorporating these courses? So this is good to have, but let us also, and the good thing the industries already know, because some of them are already advanced. I've always said before, if we are not careful, industries are starting their own training center. In my own understanding, industries, their core business is not to start a training center. If they want to train a skill, they should come to KABETE and say, look, we want some specialized skills in this area. Can we work together so that you become a center of excellence? And that's why for me, a center of excellence is not a destination, it's a journey. It is not one that you put in a brand and say we are a center of excellence. After 1 year, you should be reevaluated to know whether you still maintain the status or you don't maintain the status. So that's all I wanted to say for now. My final conclusions, skills don't die, only people do. Skills don't die, only people do. If all of us could have a skill, perhaps it will address many challenges that we have in this country and in this world. We will not be, when you have a skill, you don't retire. Some of us use old men more than 70 years to do some work, wherever they are. So if we can be able to embrace this and we sell this agenda and we become the first people to advocate for this, I am sure we'll be able to transform. I look at, even sometimes in fightings within workplaces, because of promotion, you backbite other people because you feel your job is, you feel your job is not secure, right? But if you have something else that you can do, a skill that only belongs to you, that means it will only die when you die. So that we'll always have a plan B of what we can do in life. It will solve a lot of problems that we have in this country. Thank you so much. Asante sana.
Asante, asante. A good clap for Gideon Mulenga and the company. Gideon Mulenga.
Team of development partners. Asanteni sana. So as we progress, I said you allow me to continue appreciating our people who have joined us. I know we have NEA with us here, National Employment Authority. Ah, my friend, you are there. Thank you and karibu. If I would not have announced that, the DG called me and they told me she will be sending somebody. Kenya School of TVET. Kenya School of TVET. I know there is representation here. We had invited Kenya School of TVET. Are they with us? And if I don't mention these ones, Huawei, tuko wapi? I think they could be Huawei. Huawei are the ones who have donated this equipment you can see here. Huawei, oh, good. Yeah, they are there working on the equipment. All these equipment has been donated by Huawei for this activity as their contribution. Asante. Thank you, my development partner, the development partners, the CEO, FKE, the CEO Ilo, when she was talking, and she asked our graduate wote tunatrain tutapeleka wapi? I'd raise my hand up to answer you because I'm in a construction field, and I was to answer that the 9 graduates from the university, they will come and supervise one TVET graduate from KABETE, dig a trench for foundation. 9 supervisors, one operative. So I was to answer that one, and that is what we are going to do, and that's why we are here to correct that one. So at this juncture, please, Madam PS, we had also invited our sagas with us, and they are here with us. I don't know whether TVETA, does it, any representative from TVETA? So I want to call the DG, Kenya National Qualification Authority, Dr. Alice Kande, to appreciate them and also to make a remark on behalf of our sagas. Karibu. Applause for our DG.
Thank you so much, Chief Principal KABETE, KABETE National Polytechnic. Our chief guest, Madam PS, State Department for TVET, the chairperson of KABETE National Polytechnic, the principal, the entire TVET fraternity, and our very good partners. I am delighted this morning. My name is Alice Kande, Director General of the Kenya National Qualifications Authority. We are indeed very, very delighted from the space that we sit in. Of course, you've heard that we are one of the sagas, one of the agencies under the State Department for TVET, and so proudly at it, in as much as our role cuts across, because in implementing the Kenya National Qualifications Framework, our role cut across from basic to the highest level that can be, that is the university, and also the professional part. Anywhere that we can get a form of a qualification, there we come in, because our role is to ensure that there is coordinated and harmonized qualifications process, so that ultimately we are proud of the kind of qualifications we're getting from our institutions. But Madam PS, allow me to say that we are truly honored, because from all the sub-frameworks that we have, and I say this with a lot of due respect, that we get a lot of support and cooperation from the TVET institutions. And for that, we really appreciate you for that spirit of coordinating us and ensuring that we are doing our work in a harmonized way. And that is why we have an opportunity to really appreciate the far that we have come, and the opportunities that and the achievements that we have so far seen in the TVET space. We are grateful then that in this momentous opportunity that we are looking back on how TVET has evolved. we have reason to celebrate the milestone. I was looking at the story of what we're calling the Native Industrial Training Depot, and the outcome of what was expected then, that they would get people, cheap semi-skilled labor, for Wazungus to work in farms and the industries. But that has now evolved to people who are coming out of these TVET institutions now, who are actually making mega contribution in our economy. And for that, I really applaud all of our stakeholders because of the seriousness that we have taken and the potential that we've actually seen that TVET can make in this space. And so our chief guest and all distinguished guests, we are really delighted to be part of and parcel of this celebratory mood. And as a Kenya National Qualifications Authority, then we're proud to have walked this journey with the players in the TVET sector. And we are committed to maintaining the legitimacy of qualifications awarded in the country and ensuring that they align with the requirements that are very well stipulated for registration in the National Qualifications Framework, so that they meet the needs of the workforce. Currently, there is so much hype and conversations going around about credibility of our qualifications. We're talking about fake and fraudulent qualifications, and there's no better time to, in a very sustainable way, address this issue by emphasizing on skills. And Madam PS, we thank you because of making the clarion call that it is not so much about the paper or the number of papers I produce, but it is about the skill and the competence that I can demonstrate that I have. And for that reason, we want to really appreciate that in as much as we are flagging out those fake qualifications, we have a more lasting way of addressing this issue. And we believe that as we focus, and TVET being the lead in this, as we focus on certifying people because they have demonstrated that they have skills and competencies, then we are surely, we shall surely maintain our position as trailblazers, not just within East Africa, but also continentally. And so we are delighted because we will be able to address and tackle that issue of fake credentials that are entering the job market by implementing strong quality assurance measures, having all those qualifications registered in the database of national qualifications, and of course, continuous monitoring. You say that we are one of the regulatory agencies in this space of education and training, and we are glad because as players in the TVET space, we are not ashamed of having our qualifications in that database. You know, the database is like a mirror. We are putting those qualifications confidently there to be seen, accessed, and for use by anyone, whether it is nationally or internationally. But we are proudly saying that these are globally competitive qualifications, because when it comes to engaging the industry has been involved, and they are confident that what we have registered as certificates from the TVET space, they actually have the current, the present breadth of what is happening in the industry. And so, looking back and looking ahead, we are really, really delighted and excited about the future and the endless opportunities that lay ahead. And we have no single doubt that we shall continue celebrating this. This is just the first century that we're celebrating, but I am imagining now in the next probably 10, 15, 50 years, how this space will have changed. And as PS always tells us, that this sand that we are stepping on, let us make sure that we leave imprints that we shall always be proud of in saying that we did what we ought to have done. And so we are grateful, and I am very certain that we will ensure that TVET remains a driving force for Kenya's growth, empowerment, and economic growth. Thank you so very much again for inviting us. We're glad to be part and parcel of these great celebrations. Allow me then to also then appreciate my, my sibling sister institution.
the main your email with for any information. If this microphone, having not announced.
We are welcoming you back here so that we can launch those machines. And also, I'm happy our DG is here and our QA
certificate is out, and our DG will bring the certificate on that day. So asanteni sana na mmekaribishwa hiyo siku. Asanti. Why I was saying that? I was saying that simply because I want to invite my able council chair, who is also with us, to also make her remark, Madam Agnes Kamiri. And if I would have invited her before making that announcement, akaniuliza hujawaita hiyo activity ingine. So Madam, I've invited them and you're welcome to make your remark. Karibu chair.
Asante sana Bwana Mshemi. Before I say another word, if you are a member of the KABETE National Polytechnic, if you are one of us, please stand up. Please stand up. I mean the staff and people like that. Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you very much. Bwana Principal, my chief guest, I just wanted you to turn around and see that we are all here in our numbers. And we are here because we are here to welcome you. You may have said, it was also to stretch your legs. You've been sitting for a long time. Madam PS, all other protocols observed. Karibuni KABETE. Karibuni KABETE National Polytechnic. We are honored. Obviously, we are privileged to be able to host you today. I'm sure others might have wanted this privilege, but we happen to be the ones that are most centrally placed. We happen to be the ones who are literally celebrating their 100 years. KABETE is the one that was born in 1924, and obviously in 2024, it's come to 100 years. I will not hesitate to say this because I say it over and over again. Someone already said it, maybe 3 people have said it. I won't tire to say that it started as a very small seed from the board, from the council of KABETE. And when the PS heard of it, being the proactive individual that she is, and I think all of you who have come across PS Moria know that she is action-oriented. She is not a person of theory. So she had, we want to celebrate 100 years, how best do we do this as a whole sector? And it took on a life of its own, and here we are. So for you media, anybody who wants to give credit, direct it to our Madam PS, because she, yeah, it's okay to take credit once in a while. We have our CS, yes, our CS has been very supportive, Bwana Mashogu, but he has a lot of other babies to take care of. You are our mother, and you are doing a good job. I just wanted to say thank you very much. Now, the point that I would want to make as the chair of KABETE is that we would want to maintain our place as the leading institution, as a leading TVET institution, national institution. one of the things we think we want to do this is to create a historical institution, a model institution, a regional learning center, as in what work we wanakuja hapa. I think it was the Patrick from the chamber has said a lot of things, but the one thing that stuck to me is that we need to be mentioned once again as a place that people know. Mtu akisikia Kabete, sorry, I'm challenging the rest of us. I'm challenging the rest of us, but I'm here as chair of Kabete. But if someone wants to hear of, is thinking of TVET, they're not thinking national, they're not thinking Nyeri national, they're not thinking Eldoret national. The first thing that comes to mind is Kabete. And one way we are thinking we could do this, and I think I'm running out, I'm going dry, I'm not used to talking in public like this. We want to create a research and innovation hub. And I would want all of us to hear that one clearly. A research and innovation hub, which is what will remain after. Okay? Now the research and innovation hub will also have museum chronicles. Allow me. Thank you very much. So as we move forward, so that in the next 100 years, we will not lose completely what has been achieved to date. We keep talking about how quickly that innovation is, life is changing. So how do we know where we came from as we go forward? I am sure a lot of your children and grandchildren have never seen a telephone line, a landline, right? Quite a few of your children and grandchildren have never seen it. Where we would like to create a museum that captures what was. Leave alone your grandchildren. Even some of you looking around probably have never, they've heard of it, but they've never handled it. So we would want to capture what we are leaving behind in some kind of museum. So we want to create a center here at Kabete as part of this 100 years celebration. And I hope that it will encompass all that hiyo ya zamani. Lakini sasa hata going forward, we are talking about AI, robotics, whatever. Where is it that people are going to study? Like Gideon, what was that name again? Yeah, like the GIZ gentleman has said, where we create a center where the industry can come and train, even in these futuristic courses. So we're talking big. We're talking about a very big project that we are hoping that now that I have spoken it out loud, I don't think anybody else would have had it, because this is a brainchild of the Council of Kabete. Right? The Council of Kabete thinks that that is a good thing, and looking at your faces, I can see brightness, meaning that even those of you at Nairobi Tech that have something that can be stored, can come and actually put it there. Okay? Any other institution within the country, so that now it becomes some kind of center of learning. It is, of course, the President's dream that we make the TVET learning a part of. Not even just a part of, but the leading learning that should be happening. Like he says, we are training for the world. Kenya is training its people for the world. We have the young people. We already have started exporting them. So we cannot export them without having those futuristic courses as well. It is all very well what we are doing now, but we need to improve on it going forward. So I don't think I want to say much else. Really, mine, I wanted to make sure that message of our innovation center is out there, that will also form a TVET museum. This is not a museum for Kabete. It is a TVET museum. Anything and any institution anywhere in the country can come and bring whatever whatever they think is museumable, if there's such a word as that. So we also want to bring, it is also a way of bringing industry into the institution. You know, the industry players now will come and train within here, rather than us guys going out there. I like the smile on your face, meaning we are on the right track. Thank you very much, Bwana Chambers. And I will stop by saying, repeating, because this must become a clarion call. If education is the key, TVET is. Have yourself a lovely afternoon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. A word of applause again. That brings us to the end of that session. We really appreciate Bwana Principal for taking us through that session. To cut it out, we'll have a short video presentation from our IT team. That's all they are preparing. It won't take long. It's a short video that will showcase our journey, where we are, where we've come from, and probably where we are going. As we celebrate TVET at 100, what is it that we have done as a country, as in our institutions, and what are we aiming at, and what can we achieve as a country? Because that's the direction that we are taking. Our team, let us take the shortest time possible so that we don't keep our chief guest waiting. Let us do it from there. Lock. Cue in. As we wait for the team to get ready, through your permission, Dr. Bwana Principal, I will invite the Director of Technical Education, Dr. Misha Coppola, to take over the program from there, give his remarks as we await the IT to be ready, the IT team to be ready, so that we don't waste time. Dr. Ali.
Thank you very much. Our chief guest, the PS for State Department for TVET, Dr. Esther Moria, former PS for TVET, Dr. KABETE TVET, and all protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a very beautiful day and a great day, because a day that we want to remember and plan for remembering the 100 years that TVET has done in this country. What began as one institution has ended up to be so many institutions. As simple institutions who now have technical universities which came from the TVET. We now have national polytechnics and all the TVCs around. Those that are in centers, which is very important. One thing that I note is that all along, TVET has been contributing to the economy by providing the required skills. So we are celebrating the skills that have been provided in the economy from the past and the current, and what we are also doing for the future. TVET will outlive all of us. I know none of us here is 100 years. It's only TVET that is 100 years. Ama kuna yule hapa 100 years. Nobody. But at every stage that we are in our time, let us always leave a legacy in the TVET. And for us, we are committed to make sure that we prepare this TVET so that the next generation, they will have space, they will have skills, they will have jobs during their time. As we note, over the years, TVET has been scrambling with issues, and we have been seeing improvements all through in terms of access, equity, inclusivity. We have all that, and we have seen improvement. We have seen improvement in terms of quality and relevance. I'm proud to note that we now have agents in TVET. When I joined this ministry in 2004, we never had any agents in TVET. And what used to have our institutions, they were the boards. They used to be appointed using Education Act or 211 of 1968. That's the boards of our TVET institutions. They were like schools. They were still technical schools. But now we can be proud. We will now have our own TVET Act. We now have councils. Legal notices have come in. We have now agencies that have come in. You have seen the TVET is there. The regulatory body has come in. We have now see them again. You will always see new things. The chair has talked about the telephones that you used to have, Sasa Ziko. And I can also say there's somebody who's in the Bible. Moses, when he was coming from Israel, from Egypt, and they reached a point, the Red Sea in front of them, and behind them the Egyptians were following them. And God told Moses, stand still and see the salvation, because the Egyptians you are seeing today, you never see them anymore. And therefore, I want also to say, the issues and the problems we are seeing today, kule mbele, you never see them anymore. Because TVET is going to improve. And I'm happy that TVET has been taken over by the political environment, starting from the first person in the country, driving the entire TVET. I have never seen that before. I've been in the TVET for some time, but I've never seen that. This is the first time. I remember when you were in 2004, we used to struggle to write justifications of why TVET should be funded. Justifications so that it can be accepted, acceptance of TVET. But right now, it's coming from above. So there is a great change in TVET. I'm so proud of that. We have a PS. I'm also proud of you, because when you came in running, and you have run na umekimbia kabisa. And that's what you are seeing here. That's why people here are saying that you have done a lot of coordination. TVET requires a voice that can shout and others follow. And that's what we have been looking for. And we have a big voice kutoka juu kabisa, and it's trickling down. Na mambo itakuwa sawa. So I want to say, TVET will never remain the same. Asanteni sana.
Daktari, you will be back in a short while. For now, the IT team, the floor is yours.
I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to KABETE National Polytechnic to celebrate with us our centenary celebrations, and the celebrations will attract all the TVET institutions, both the national and county governments. All the industry stakeholders or the industries will also be participants in this activity. Our development partners, they will be part of us in this activity, and all stakeholders and all Kenyans in general. So I want to welcome you to KABETE National Polytechnic for the TVET at 100 national celebrations, which will be officiated by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable William Samoei Ruto. So this institution started in 1924, and it went on with a training mandate up to the year 1939. Between 1939 and 1945 in history, you know what happened, that there was the Second World War. So the institution turned its mandate to a barrack. So between that time, 1939 to 1945, KABETE National Polytechnic used to be a barrack, and this is where soldiers used to be assembled, and they could be given some training before they proceed to the war. And later, after the war, the institution came back to its mandate of training, and in the year 1956 it was able to establish a secondary school section. And in the year 1968 to 1972, in fact, the institutions had a higher mandate of training the East African Technician Certificate, EATC. And that means this institution has some graduates that it used to train from all the way in our East African countries, that is Tanzania, Uganda, and the other countries. So that in the year 1985, I remember that is the year the 844 was introduced. The ministry gave the mandate of this institution now. It was given a technical training institution status so that it could absorb these 844 graduates. And continued with its mandate of training as a technical training institute. And in the year 2016, through the legal order 92 of 2016, the institution now has the mandate of coming up with curriculum, examining them, and awarding a certification. So I think that is very good, and that's where we are. And right now, we are spearheading this celebration now that KABETE in the Republic is the one now attaining 100 years. We are very happy that the ministry agreed that all our TVET brothers to be with us so that we can celebrate this TVET at 100. And I'm happy to report that celebrations of TVET at 100 is designed to come out in 2 phases, and I'm happy to report that phase 1 has already been launched, and that is the TVET Flame, and it was launched on March 26th by no other person than His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable William Samoei Ruto, in Mount Kenya at Nyeri National Polytechnic. And the intention of this flame was to make sure that it will create publicity when it comes to the matters of Tibet, and it will spread the gospel of inclusivity so that the industries, the county governments are brought on board. And it is supposed to publicize Tibet across the 47 counties in the Republic of Kenya. I want to encourage our Kenyan youth to heed to the call that is brought ahead by the Tibet at 100 celebrations, in that the Tibet is the way to go. The Tibet in education, or as the President gave us a slogan, that if education is the key, Tibet is the master key. I welcome the youth in Tibet. I welcome the youth in this economy of Tibet, so that we are able to stand up in a better economy when we are Tibet skills in ourselves.
Thank you very much. We are working on a comprehensive documentary where we will be showcasing what we are doing as Tibet. We include all the partners and everybody on board. So it will be ready in a few. That's what we are working on. That was
just an example of what we've started working on as we celebrate the big day. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Daktari again to invite for us the chief guest who will give us the main address.
Thank you very much, our chief guest. Before I invite the chief guest, let me recognize the presence of the ministry officials who have accompanied the chief guest. You can just stand and wave. Thank you very much. My role is very simple. I request that we all keep standing as it is stand, as I invite our chief guest, Dr. Esther Moria, who is the principal secretary for Tibet. Karibu sana, madam.
Please be seated. Thank you very much, Director. My colleague P.S. KABETE TVET, and the principal of this institution, and together with Madam Wanjiro, the chair of the board, all the principals present, the CATI chair, good afternoon. Habari zenu? Let me say that I am here ready to launch this media brief in honor of the 100 years of Tibet existence in Kenya that we celebrate today. And I want to say that as I do that, I want to congratulate really the persons behind this monumental idea. And Madam Chair, what I do is that I listen a lot, I consult a lot, I am open to a lot of advice, and that is what has really brought me to where I stand today in Tibet. I remember among my first assignment was an assignment at KICC. And I was called from church on a Sunday, told that I was on a program at KICC, that my colleague from ICT called me and said, "Madam, you're not here, and you are on the program." I asked him which program. So when I got there, I had no idea
what I was supposed to say. So I called Tuwei, and was it Tuwei and Kanyi or Njao and Kanyi? Who was it? Two of them. And I told them, can you people tell me what to say? Because of course I knew nothing about TVET. It was about a few weeks after we were appointed. And from that day, Madam Chair, I have learned to leverage on these technical people. My technical PA, Kanyi, is a man who is very close to me. And everything I say about TVET has come from this man. So I talk very loudly and I look very confident. But really, I have had to sit on the feet of Kanyi, Tuwei, Jao, among others, to learn. And I have learned and learned well. And I have loved the space. And so when I speak about it, I speak from the heart because I realized it is a platform on which we could hold hands and make a difference, not only for the youth of this country, but for the country itself. And I am happy that my director, Obora, has stated that this comes from above. Because when I tell these principles, these ones, that my friends, we are going to do it this way. And I tell them, it is not my construction. I've also been given orders. And I call them my lieutenants. And I am very proud of them. These lieutenants of mine, you know, the orders come from the top. And the lieutenants implement. And they have implemented. And so far, so good. Somebody said that you wanted to be told you are from KABETE. It was good which school in KABETE or from University of Nairobi. Nyangweso, where else do you want to be told we are from? Yeah? Makerere. Oh, Makerere. I have challenged these principles that it is up to them, really, to make the Makereres, the KABETES, the alliances, the Mangus of this country. Because in a few years' time, somebody will be telling us, please, if you are taking me to a polytechnic, take me to this one and this one. It is up to them. And I have promised them that they have my entire support. If it is money, I have been struggling, Chair, to make sure that as much as possible, Treasury is giving me resources to be able to give to these people so that I can then demand results from them. So far, it has been okay, but we still have some work to do. I've been to a bit of these institutions because there are many more I'd like to go, 2 time allowing. My colleague PS, I'm not sure how it was your time, but now it is so demanding that Kanyi makes a program that we are going to this region so that we can go to this and this and this institution. It never happens. But where I've been, the few I've been to, whether it is at the coasts, whether it is in Nyanza, I went to a small one like Nachu, where they are struggling to have land because it is full of stones, but they are struggling and they are doing well. Another small one I went to in Coast, is it Nyangoma? What is it? Godoma. Godoma is doing well and it's a small institution. So these principles of mine, these lieutenants of mine are struggling to make the alliances and the KABETES and the Makereres of this world. But there is a lot more to be done. To avoid speaking too much, I want to leverage on the 4 points I went home with, because for the last 3 days we have been at the Safari Park with an international conference for education, but focusing on TVET. And one of my takeaways is, if we are going to get to where we want to go and where we must go as a department, because somebody here has talked about creating directions. Me, I I am a linear logic person. So I don't like agreeing with Wanjiro that we are going to Nairobi. Where is Nairobi from here? This way. Nairobi is this way. So I don't like agreeing with Wanjiro that we are going to Nairobi. Then the next time I turn around, she's in, this way is going where? Otheru. I get very confused because we were not in that agreement at all. So Mimi, nikikwambia wacha tuende Nairobi, please can we go this way? And so that is what I have asked these people that we need to go with TVET. So we agreed that we were making policies. That was my first takeaway at Safari Park yesterday. And we have come up with policies as a department that are going to direction this department. One of them being the president himself ordered the coming back of SIDAC. I was in State House myself, and a few other people were there, and for 30 minutes he lectured us about the absence of SIDAC. And I'm saying this in broad daylight. And Honorable Mashogu was ordered that in 2 weeks the president wanted SIDAC back, and it was. So that's one policy direction, so that we can have pragmatic curricula getting crafted, the assessment and certification being well directioned for skills and competencies for this country. That was the very first policy direction that I had. And of course, we had to take it up, start recrafting the trainers, which we are almost done now. We have agreed with Dr. Tarno that at the end of this month next month, May, all the trainers must be recrafted, then we start recrafting them. And I'm talking about recrafting, not retraining. If I'm not talking about recrafting, I will talk about retooling. Because we are talking about getting a person who can actually do it. So there we are with the curricula and the assessment. Here we are with the training, and we have agreed with Dr. Tarno that come the beginning of June, we start recrafting our trainers on use of equipment, and we even agreed with these principles that we are going to redistribute and rationalize the equipment so that we don't have 15 lathe machines in Centenary. What are 15 lathe machines doing in an institution? And I tasked the chief principal that those equipment needs to be rationalized across the country. And we are only going to have more equipment coming to an institution like this one when we are sure that we need. So policy is in place, and we are putting in place all these policies to ensure that TVET is redirectioned, is directioned better than it was there before, so that even the graduates we are going to graduate will be acceptable across the world. Not across the country, across the world. My second take from Safari Park yesterday is that we have to train and train and retrain people. We have trained and we are in the course of retraining our trainers so that they train the students and train them in the right way. We are also training on Jitume, both at Kenya School of TVET and at Arvist. And again, this is an exercise that we must finish at the end of this week so that our young people are able to earn. Kabete, how far are you with Jitume? Are you earning? Good. So that's another area that we must do. We have duoed our training. Murenga is a very close friend of mine, much more so because we want to ensure that the training is again industry-based. We have to try to train with industry, from industry, and for industry. We agreed on that, dual training, and I also decided, you know, when I came also, there were all these development partners. Oh, let us do this. That's another area that can really disorganize you. And I made up my mind, and I was supported from the top that let us go the German direction of training. There are the development partners. There is this we are doing with them. There is this we are doing with them, which is okay. But the training is German duo. And that one is not about, I've been to South Korea, I've been to China, I've been to Switzerland. This week, tomorrow I'm going to Canada, but I'm just going to see what they are doing. Nikuje Morenga tuendele. That's how. So we have continued with these principles. Morenga has done a tremendous job. These principles have also gone out of their way to bring in industry, and that, again, we have agreed that this year there is nothing much more we are concentrating in, bringing industry in. And principles, I am proud of you. You are doing a tremendous job. Yesterday, Morenga told us at Safari Park that we even have more spaces than the people we are going to put in those spaces of industry training. I am very proud of you. Glory, when you sleep, know that you are my friend. Among others. I tell these principles, I love them very much. And the only reason, no, it's not the only one. The reasons, among others, is because, P.S., when we started, it is no more. It is no more. It's okay. When we started to Vurungana, wengine walianza kuliita mama. Kama sasa kamekuja kutuambia nini? Kamekuta hapa, you know the culture way, the way things are done here. Kambia pana, acha tujaribu. Wengine hapa, I can even tell you individually ile majina waliniita, but it is okay. Even me, I was one of the people who really called the teachers' names, when not bad ones, according to what they are doing. Yes, so now we are friends. The third thing, apart from training, is adoption to AI and ICT, and I've already talked about the Jitume space. And we're coming up with a conversation with Professor Kenge the other day about curricula on AI, so that we are ready. I am not, however, too worried about emerging trends in industry, and of course the need to train on the emerging issues. Why? Because a skilled person is a person who is more than prepared to adapt to what is coming up. What I mean is this. Those mechatronics people, young people we have trained at Nairobi Technical, among other places, because they are in industry and they are seeing what is happening with the emerging cars. What are these cars with solar now called? I saw solar panels for cars in, where was it? Was it South Korea? The electric cars. Because they are already well trained and skilled, they will be adaptable to learn about the upcoming technology. Okay? I am not denying that we might need to bring them to our institutions and recraft them, which will be more than ready to do, because we have CDAC and the qualification awarding institutions. How many do we have now? Almost 24. Some we have certified with ALICE, some we are yet to certify ALICE. How many do we still have to certify as qualification awarding institutions? I have challenged ALICE to be on the fast lane, so that we qualify all the national polytechnics, so that as curricula is required, we don't have to over-leverage on Professor Kitainge. All these principles in national polytechnics should be able to help us, so that again, we are able to have curricula where it is supposed to be. Whether it is in ICT, AI, we are able to adapt to those changes as a department. Finally, I want to say, and I think this is where I am in quotes accused of insisting on, and that is taking personal responsibility and initiative where you are. And that's why I said I have challenged these principles. If you go to Eldoret National Polytechnic, it looks like a university. But my friend, everything good can be made better. This institution, somebody said they came in and said, oh, this one exists here, but something good can be made better, especially on the soft part of it. You can have all this beauty, like this institution, even Harvest. You go to Harvest, you wonder where are you? Because you know the attitude we have been having of Tibet. But that is not where you are going to stand. If you joke, Nachu is going to overtake you, and Nachu is very little. Nachu, the other day, trained 270 painters who are going to go into industry for employment. And she told me they have 70 more on the waiting list. This one. And my industrial linkages officer, one of my industrial linkages officer is Mary. She's doing a tremendous job together with director. Her director is Jao, and they are doing a tremendous job in ensuring that we are in industry. And this is the personal initiative that I am talking about. Until and unless somebody is ready to hold a space and run with it, we will be talking, issuing policies. Me, by the way, I've told those who cared to listen to me that even when I was young, and now I am old, policies were still being written. The first time I was ever in a PS's office, there was a PS from Coast. I don't remember, somebody. So I happened to have a relative when they were friends with, when I used to come to Nairobi, and we came to, and I heard him saying those days, and I hardly even know which building, I don't know where we even were, saying that, hizi policies imekuwa hapa muda mrefu, that time. And I can assure you, those policies are still, in fact, when these people are very good in writing some of these things. And when they tell me what you are going to write, I ask them, are you sure these cupboards, some gathering dust in her, are you sure those things are not somewhere in these cupboards around here? So we can write the papers, we can write the policies. The last time I ever wrote anything of substance is when I wrote my PhD thesis. You can write all those things, but unless somebody is ready to pick something and run with it and make sense out of it and craft a useful person out of it, we are not working. The other day, PS, the site called me to Isiolo to go and see some Ujuzi Manyatani, some people, some young people they are skilling there who cannot even talk a single word in English or Kiswahili, and it is okay. It is okay. They're doing a very good job. If you ask Desai, maybe when he probably the last time he wrote a paper is when he did his PhD or whatever he did. But we now need to run with what is in existence, because there is a space from which we must get out. We were supposed to go, I was telling some people we were in that room with that, we were supposed to go to Suguta Valley, Tiati. We were supposed to go to Tiati, and it was all planned by Dwayne. Then Dwayne told me, hapana madam, please, tutakupeleka huko. Kienda huko, unaweza kuwa utarundi. So there is a dream between me and PS decide that we need to go there and skill those young people, because there is nothing there. But if we, like he has done in Isiolo and other places, if we can be able to get those people and give them a skill and a hope and a future, then we are working. Then we are working. I also tell these people that when I was young, roads in Kenya were being done by foreigners. When I was young. They are still being done by today. We have to stop and think. We have to do things in a way that they are different from the way they are being done. And the good thing is that we have an opportunity. Let us use it and use it well. So take personal responsibility. Check the space where you are. What is it that you can do? Dr. Nduko, what can you do for that institution in Machakos, yourself, where those young people are differently abled and they will be able to remember you 100 years to come? Obora said 100 years. That's why Obora now is, we say at least 20 years. Some years when you are no longer in that space, what will people remember you for? And that is because you will have decided as a person to take initiative. So I want to thank KABETE. Madam, this idea was brought to me by these people, Patrick and Mwangi. They came and lectured me, told me, okay, I will support you. What I did is support them. I do not take credit. These are the guys who take credit, especially from this your institution. Because I have said that I listen and listen. Now it is started looking like it is my idea, it is my pathway in Yawa. These ones are the ones who advised me and told me, let us now get it out of. First of all, they sold the idea of 100 years celebration. Will share me to me several documents which I would read and tell them, okay. Then Mwangi started talking about it being a TVET-wide thing, and we picked it from there and now started running with it. And so when I'm running the show with the president there, it looks like it is my idea. But we agreed to do it together, and it is going to be a good thing. So let me thank all of us. Let me thank our working partners, all of you, GIZ, KEMSA, not KEMSA, GIZ, CICAN. We are going to it is you we are going with tomorrow they are taking me to Canada. I've never been to Canada. CICAN and all our working partners. A lot of times, of course, let me say, and Agri said that they need to be directioned. I don't know who is going to direction you, but let me say they confuse me. Mara, they're telling me this, Mara, this one is telling me this, but I'm very careful to only listen to what I must listen to. So our working partners, thank you. Even you, Alice, even with your confusing name, Google what? I cannot remember Google now. I will listen and decide what to run with, because we need to stay directioned. I want to thank yes, our working partners. I want to thank the industry. We have done very well. We have come up with a very nice framework with industry, and I am waiting for my technical staff, Kanyi and Joe, to finish writing a cabinet memo that we now want tabled in cabinet, so that the top government can tell us how they are going to incentivize industry to be able to work with us. So that is going to be a big statement in our working with industry, and that is what we are now looking for. So in another, Jao, nitawaandikia barua. You know, Marisi hiyo kitu, and because I want to give it to the minister to be able to take it to cabinet, and we are able to craft that space. So industry, this year, our department is about you, because we have to bring you on board completely, because we want to train people who are speaking volumes for this country. And I also, of course, want to appreciate my lieutenants. You are doing a great job, and you had me even being very proud of you in front of the president, and I actually did tell him that it is actually you who are making the difference in TVET, and I want to say, let us continue that way. It is about leaving footsteps on the sand of our time. Our missing link, I hope I've appreciated all the partners here. Our missing link, and that is largely why we are here today, has been media. Media, we need to be placed up there. You know, as I watched my colleagues on Nation yesterday, I mean, for you media, education is primary and secondary, and then sasa turuke mpaka university. Hata zile maswali zote walikuwa wanauliza is about primary. Oh, I don't know classes where, I don't know which curricula, I don't know what. Media, we want to tell you that we are here to make a big difference. And we need your support. We need you to tell everybody in Kenya and in the world that the president has said that if we are going to industrialize, if we are going to develop as a country, and education is what? Is the key. TVET is the master key. That is from none other but the chief executive of this country. So we need you to hype this, and we are going to help you hype this by doing the right thing. Any question you'd want us to answer, and answer against data, we shall answer to convince you that as a department, as a ministry, we are doing the right thing so that this country has, because this country has to industrialize. And I have said elsewhere that for a country to industrialize, you need 4 M's. You need money, you need machinery, you need market, and you need man. And man is the most important. And that man is the skilled man, the person who can actually do the job. Not a person who will delegate the job. So kindly media, you are our biggest missing link, and we invite you to work with us. Tell us whatever it takes you for us to work with you, because we need you. We need to be the government communicator. What is he called? Spokesman. Bwana Mwaura told us the other day that any work that is not communicated has not been done. So there is a lot we are doing, but we need you to communicate, and we need you therefore to establish it as something that is being done. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. May the Lord bless you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for our chief guest, Madam PS. We thank you very much. We kindly request you to come back on stage so that you launch the celebrations that start today. Our actors to have those
presentations brought on stage.
Are you doing that? I'll request the representative of the following, Kati, please on stage, a representative of the development partners, a representative of the industry representative, and our media reps. Kati, please. Mr. Principal. Yeah. Okay, Principal. Mr. Michelle. And the council chair. Kati, on behalf of Kati, I shall give it to the PS. On behalf of Kati, a round of applause. Thank you very much. On behalf of our development partners, who is receiving it. Thank you very much. On behalf of our industrial partners, reps, rest of the team, KEPSA, KEM, thank you very much. And on behalf of the media team, and the digital media talent. Thank you very much. Let the information go out.
That we are reviving the TVETs. We are banning. And have our seats, please, after that photo.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Principal.
Dr. Mushemi, back to the stage. You give us the last one and the way forward for TVETs and what next for us.
Thank you. Our chief guest, I think he has just telling me to come back here to just say thank you. And now that the information is with the owners, the information is with us. This is now shared. Our chief guest, Madam P.S., allow me, you can see that K-Pipes. That is a company in Kenya, that has 40 branches in Kenya, and over 400 employees, and owned by a graduate from KABETE, plumber, who graduated. Karibu director. You just say hi, and maybe you check the heart of the chief guest. Yeah, that is an old boy of KABETE, an employee of over 400 employees. An employer, an employer, thank you, my colleagues, that's why you are here. An employer of over 400 graduates with 40 branches in Kenya. I was asking whether Akona hiyo duka is a solution to so many solutions in that space from KABETE. Karibu, you say hi as we organize to make a closing remark and a prayer.
Madam P.S., Dr. Esther, Principal of KABETE, all protocol observed. My name is Bono. I'm Director at K-Pipes and CEO of K-Pipes and Fitting Center. In the year 2013, 2014, and 2015, I was a student here. I was tackling plumbing artisan. I was a plumbing artisan. Najua mimi nikiona watu wengi naenda frat. But it's okay. Now, I'm very happy. You see, myself, I never got a chance to go to university. But in our village and at home, my dad used to be a plumber. And that is where I developed that. I admired what my dad was doing that time. And from that, I could we could go together with my dad to work, and also when I got maybe something like some money, I could come pay school fees here at KABETE na ninaendelea na masomo. So what happened after I finished school, nilianza plumbing. I started a plumbing job, self-employment around Kikuyu, and from there I could get so many challenges trying to source for materials from Nairobi, because you see, in the plumbing industry, people will only hire you when they know, or will always consider you for a job when you have good prices of the raw material, when you have reasonable labor charges. So for me, it was a challenge, because when around my area in Kikuyu now, the shops that we are having, the prices was a bit high, and most people could not get all items that I required that time for me now to work. So I was going to Nairobi, Nyamakema, to hustle for these products. But now what happened after that, I realized it was a big gap, because most of the time I was on my way to the Nairobi trekking, Matatu, trying to go get those products. And that's where the idea of opening a hardware came from. And I started with one hardware in Kikuyu. So I was able to serve my clients in a good way, and I was really efficient. And that is where now my company grew into 40 branches in a span of 7 years, since 2014. Yeah, so I would encourage our young people who are out there, who maybe don't recognize TVETs and how they do, how all the procedures happen. And I encourage them with this. You see, I have interacted with so many people in my industry, so many suppliers who supply our hardware now, that is. But you'll find that most of these people are Chinese and Indians. And also we have locals who are doing the same, like in this industry. But with the Chinese, what I learned is that in every while manufacturing each and every product that we sell in our shops, you will find that they have people they call engineers. And you see, these machines are changing day by day. You see, if you rely on going to get a white-collar job, if you rely on that, and you don't realize that there is something like that, there is machines changing, designs changing every day, the only people who can tackle this, I believe, is people who knows what TVET is. Because if they get there, they'll get trained according to how those machines work. So TVET, if you look around anything, if you look around here, if you look at the speakers, they are not manufactured by the white-collar jobs. If you look at the structure that we have here, it's the people, it's the artisans that we have around this region or in our country. You see, but now, if the government can support this, and I believe it's supporting, this is the best thing that can happen to our country, if people get to learn about these things. Thank you.
Thank you very much, makofi tena. Thank you very much, tumeshukuru sana, we appreciate. That's quite encouraging, that the future of this country is in TVETs. If this is a success story, we have many success stories. We've come to the end of our session. It was a good one. We thank everybody who has participated. We appreciate your time. Also the chief guest, the principal, the host, the chair, the kitty council, everybody who has participated, the partners, the development partners, the industry players, the staff, and everyone who else, the media, we really appreciate. God bless you all. We now invite Mr. Geoffrey Motune to do a closing prayer. Thereafter, Madam Chief Guest, the media is looking for you, together with the principal and the chair, and that success story, we will have a small media interview outside here. Thereafter, the principals, I understand, and the council have a meeting at the conference room, and the other staffs and the other visitors will be guided on to where to go after this. Mr. Motune, please.
Okay, thanks so much. Good afternoon, everybody. Let us be upstanding, please, for the closing prayer. Dear Lord, we thank you for having guided us in having a very successful media briefing concerning TVET, and we know that TVET is a game changer to our youth. Guide us, and so far we appreciate what you've done to the TVET sector. We have walked from far, but now we are seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. We thank you, God, so that you guide us in the Centenary celebrations, which are very key to what we are heading to in the month of July, and it will culminate on the 31st of July. So, oh Lord, we pray that you see us through the whole process. Finally, we thank for the success of all what we are doing, and it in Lord's name we pray and believe. Amen. Thanks, and have a blessed afternoon.
The logo that we'll be using all through, we'll be praying in the screen, you see it, and it will come your way. That's what we'll be using as we celebrate the centenary celebrations of 100 years. The national anthem. Let's be upstanding for the national anthem. Please don't leave. DJ. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Have a lovely afternoon. The chief guest, the media interview, the principals and the council to the conference room for the meeting. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Asante.
When you are ready, the cameras, you are ready. Sawa, the first question.
So I'm from student TV, since we are facing a national crisis. How is it like?
Yes. Yes. And as a government, of course, we are absolutely concerned because loss of life, very, very expensive, even property for us, and therefore we witnessed Excellency the President has able to look into and address this issue. As a department, we are training in green. We are recrafting our curriculum, like I said earlier on. The process of recrafting our curricula is inclusion of green skills, where we are teaching our young people how we can leverage on what we have naturally to be able to speak into some of the issues that we have. So we want to train our people, for example, into ensuring that we have greened our economy, that we are using solar as an alternative, among other green skills that so we are going to look into all these issues as they affect us as a country, and like I say, we are still and like the France, what it is that we must train our plans on in as far as addressing some of these issues that concern. So green skills is one of our targets, and issues like flooding, issues like climate change are at the bottom of our program. Inclusivity and access is one of the key issues in our mandate as a department, as a Ministry of Education. The government has decided that there is going to be a TVET institute in every constituency in this country. Actually, the Presidential Working Party for Education Reforms had even suggested that we should have a national polytechnic in every county, but the President thought that was going to be too much. But we are still looking into having as many national institutions in the regions as possible, so that TVET is known and heard of across the country. Right now, in this initiative of celebrating 100 years of TVET, we have what we are calling the TVET Torch. The TVET Torch was launched by His Excellency at the Nyeri National Polytechnic, that is at the mountain. That is our mountain. Nyeri is at the mountain for us, and it is going right across the country. Right now, I think it is in Western, from the Rift Valley, and from the Rift, from Western it's going to Nyanza, and then all the way to Coast and back in Nairobi, where we are going to have the ultimate of these celebrations. So with the TVET Torch, it is an advocacy strategy where we are educating everybody about TVET existence, of TVET importance, of TVET, and that is why we even have this media launch today. And if you heard in my speech, I said that we want to invite media to be a pragmatic part and parcel of us, because we want them to help us preach this gospel that TVET is the way to go, and the TVET is a game changer, not only for this country, but regionally and internationally. Let me also make it known to all of us that we already have our own graduates working out there. This year, an organization called HOPS came back to the country after having been here the previous year to interview our own graduates, where they recruited 315 agriculturists. Actually, those who had gone the previous year, I am informed when we are here today that they are actually being recalled back to the UK because they are very good. And they recruited so many this year. Our graduates are good. And these are the messages we want to pass across the country, that come to the TVET, get a skill, and the sky is the limit.
Okay, how is the government is working with industry to make sure that that dual can be worked across the country? Because some counties had this industry, but how are you making process so that this dual can work there?
Yes, I have already said that this year, as a department, we have decided that engaging with industry is what we are focusing on this year. And if you go to all my institutions, you will find that the principals are working very hard as individuals to be able to leverage the industries around themselves so that they speak to them into wanting and the importance of us training with industry, because we want to train with industry, for industry, and about industry. Principals are doing everything possible around the institutions to bring in the industries, and it is a success story. Number two, as the central government, we are writing what we are calling a cabinet memo to the cabinet for the top government to speak into how they are going to incentivize the industries to be prepared and ready to work with us. But let me say, because like in this forum, there are many industries already represented. The industries are already very responsive. They are ready to work with us. But we now want to put it a step further and have the top government at cabinet speaking into how they will incentivize the industries to come on board and work with us.
Madam, if we talk about the fake certificates, we are seeing the menace is going high. What is TVET doing to curb this?
Fake certificates is an area I dealt with a lot in my former life at the university, because we would come across a number, not overwhelmingly so, of the fake. But as a department, the good thing about us is that we are certifying skills. So there is not going to be anything fake about us. Because you are, for example, a media person, you are already skilled in using all these machines. So you can come even when you don't have a certificate. We are going to assess you and certify you. There is nothing going to be fake about certificates. After it has, and in our training, we have what we call portfolio of evidence. Portfolio of evidence is where these principals are going to keep everything you have been learning across the journey of your training, so that as we assess you at the end of the day, we are looking at what you have been doing, not just learning theoretically anywhere in our institutions. And when we assess you, we bring in industry players. Our assessment is not just about these principals or the teachers who have been teaching you, but when we are assessing you, we also have industry players in the examination process. All right? So we certify you when we know or when we are sure that you can be able to do what it is that we are certifying you for. All that, having said all that, we cannot rule out criminals, let me call them that, because we have them in our society. We cannot rule out somebody going to wherever they want to go to and have a certificate written and saying it is TVET. That is up to the DCI to identify. And when they come to us, we'll be able to tell them, no, this one does not belong to us. So we can't rule out that fact, but for us, what belongs to us will be good.
Chamber of Commerce, please. Chamber of Commerce, are the government in the right track in upscaling the TVET?
Oh, good. Thank you so much, the members of the Fourth Estate. Just like the PS has put it, the training is gradual. You see, there are a lot of emerging opportunities, emerging technology. You had me talking about the digitized global world.
I want to say that, confirm to you that the government is in the right path. For the first time in history, if you can check from the Nyayo government up to where we are today, it's the first time we are having the government, top government officials led by His Excellency the President, talking about TVET vocational training initiatives, and not just talking about supporting it. One thing which I think we still need to really improve on is the skills mismatch. Because just like as the PS had put it in the morning, there are a lot of dynamics when it comes to the machineries. Gone are the days when you need a farm, for example, to grow like mushroom. Nowadays you only need to grow it within your corner of your bedroom or your sitting. So which means you need machineries and equipment. Storage facilities, things are really changing, and therefore is something which both industries and the government must work together to support the institution. Because I'll tell you for sure, government cannot sustain everything. They are supposed just to give us the policies. But this morning I called upon the industry players to invest in vocational training. If we really want to make Kenya competitive, if we really want to increase employment opportunities, and also if we really want to support youth and women so that we really have enhanced on enterprise growth. You have seen through the county aggregation and industrial parks, government, I think, PS, you have now piloting around 16 in the country. And you see through, and also other economic special zones. Now, all these zones, the KABETE institutions, affordable housing, they will need technology. I've seen why I'm saying the government is doing a good job. I've seen for the first time I've supported the government for the last of 20 years. Government giving priorities to even provide windows, doors. So which means they need technology, and the issue of standardization, Madam PS, that's what you need to work with the private sector. So that the window which is being developed by workshop at KABETE should be the same as the one in Mecheko, so that, and that's why Chinese are beating us. Not just standardization, but quality products. So I think partnership collaboration is the way to go to see the TVET in the next of 100 years.
Last one question, please.
Madam Pierce, one last question. Machogu, while between tutors and learners, it ought to be 1 to 20, but it is 1 to 14. So it is not balanced as they expect. So would you say that TVETs are still not popular among learners, and what is the ministry doing to bridge this gap?
Government has allowed recently us to recruit 1,300 trainers, and those are already on the ground, and they have been trained on the student-based pedagogy from the Kenya School of TVET, and they are now working. We have advertised another 2,000 trainers who we are going to start shortlisting from next week, so that we are able to bring them in to try and bridge that gap. It is true that we still do not have enough trainers on the ground, and so that is why the government is taking that initiative. And actually this year, from the previous planning, we had been allowed to recruit 1,000, but His Excellency the President, who actually owns this space, said that no, we are going to recruit the 2,000 now, and he directed Treasury to avail funds for us to be able to recruit that 2,000, and that we are up and running to be able to achieve. On the other hand, we are also, like I said, retooling and recrafting our trainers with the Kenya School of TVET, because we know that until and unless the teacher is right, then we will not get it right with our graduates. So we are again recrafting our trainers, and come end of June, we have agreed with Kenya School of TVET that we will be done. We will be finished with recrafting the trainers who are already on board, but remember we are still bringing others on board, so we will continue to recraft them. So not only are we talking about the numbers that must be on board, but we are also talking about the quality of the trainer who must be And we are working on that. The government is working on that, and very seriously so. We are also going to bring in industry players, including those who had been trained before on the use of equipment, and they have even retired. We have agreed with these principles, and CS Mashou has allowed us at policy level to bring in even those who already retired, and they have the skills on the use of our equipment. So again, we have agreed with the Kenya School of TVET that from the beginning of June, we are going to be bringing in the industry players and those of us who had been trained on the use of equipment to be able to recraft our trainers so that we can be able to train our trainers properly.
What are we celebrating?
Thank you.
Are we still seeing low enrollment in TVET?
No. We do not have low enrollment in TVET. In fact, my fear is that we might get overwhelmed sooner than later. I am not saying we are yet exactly where we are supposed to be, but the access to TVET is good. I cannot personally complain, because you go to a place like Kitale National Polytechnic, there are 17,000 students. In Eldoret National Polytechnic, I think they have similar numbers, but there are those who are still struggling to come up. And please remember that a lot of us who have even told me, oh, you know, Madam PS, there is nothing happening on the ground. And this would most likely be talking about vocational training centers, the former village polytechnics, which are devolved to the counties. I am not saying that they are not still my responsibility, because at the end of the day, it is up to me to ensure the quality and to ensure the standards of those institutions, and then the county government can provide the infrastructure. So we are still going there, and we still have a lot of reforms to do in TVET, and we are requesting Kenya to watch this space, but to give us time to be able to get there. Access to TVET institutions is good.
Thank you. Thank you for that question, and I think it's a question that is already answered today by our chief guest, that today was the TVET at 100 media brief, media launch, so that the TVET at 100 celebrations, which KABETE is attaining 100 years since it was established, and the ministry brought in all other TVET so that we can celebrate together. So today was an activity, as it was said by the chief guest, that we launched the information to all our. But allow me to say the rationale behind these celebrations is that if you look at the government, starting with from colonial government, and the government even after independence, all the government that has come in Kenya, every leader, every government has been thinking about TVET in terms of even establishing commissions, establishing all those ones, Vision 2030, all those documents, they think about TVET. But today, as we launch this TVET at 100, the question is, us as managers of TVET, are we equal to the investment that the government has put in this sector? Are we equal? So it's a time we want to put away in balance. We see whether the investment that the government has put is equal to our output. And that's why to be a reflection of, are we, all these government have invested, these development partners, are we producing the right thing in relation to this investment?